It is one of South Dakota's most infamous child murder cases. The mother who brutally killed her 3-year-old daughter in 1987 and then denied it for years has been granted parole.
64-year-old Debra Jenner was convicted of stabbing Abby Lynn Jenner more than 70 times with a toy metal airplane and a kitchen knife. Evidence at the crime scene showed the little girl tried to defend herself because she was clutching hair in her hands. Jenner was sentenced to life in prison and appealed her conviction several times, claiming someone else killed Abby.
But Jenner eventually admitted to the crime, and after more than a dozen parole hearings this month, the parole board granted her request to get out of prison. Kettleland's Angela Kennedy joins us now with not only a look back at Jenner's crime and the role that the late Governor Bill Janklow played in allowing her to be up for parole, but also how Jenner's September parole hearing was kept quiet by state officials. Angela?
Well, I met Debra Jenner and had a brief conversation in the library of the women's prison when I was investigating problems in our prison system in 2016. She reportedly had been a model prisoner helping inmates study for their GEDs. Jenner's case has long fascinated the public, not only because of how grisly it was, but also because she repeatedly appealed her conviction, claiming someone else killed her daughter. In 2003, the late Governor Bill Janklow cut her sentence from life in prison to 100 years in return for Jenner finally admitting that she had murdered Abby. However, every time she came before the parole board in the past, she was denied because of her years of lying and blaming others for the crime. The 1987 murder of 3.5-year-old Abby Jenner in her home rocked the Huron community.
I saw him carry her out, and I thought it looked like blood all over her.
I've heard rumors about this being some type of cult killing, and we don't have any information that would support that.
Evidence from the crime scene was sent to a Chicago lab for testing, and a month went by with no arrests. Then a grand jury convened.
We have a definite suspect at this point, but I'm not at liberty to disclose who that person is.
Debra Jenner was arrested, charged with murder, and underwent a 3-week trial in which the jury found her guilty. After one of her many parole hearings, former parole board chairman Dan Nichols said,
I think her life sentence without parole was probably appropriate in the first place.
When it comes to Jenner's most recent parole hearing this month, the South Dakota Board of Pardons and Paroles only listed its agenda for Thursday, September 16th online, and Jenner was not on that list. Our news cameras were present at the Thursday parole hearing for Joaquin Ramos. We discovered after the fact through the board's meeting minutes that a parole hearing had been held for Jenner the day before, on Wednesday, but it slid right under the radar. The board approved Jenner's release from prison by a vote of 6-3, subject to a psychological evaluation, and ordered no contact with children without approval by her parole officer. Beadle County Sheriff's Deputy Jim Sheridan was one of the original investigators on the case. While he was on the parole board for 13 years, he recused himself from Jenner's hearings. In 2003, Sheridan told Kettleland News,
She's entitled to come up for parole every 8 months now. Abby is not going to get that opportunity.
I spoke to Jim Sheridan, who is now retired from the Beadle County Sheriff's Office. He told me he doesn't think Jenner is going to harm anyone and that she paid her dues, and he expects her to follow the rules of her parole. According to the Department of Corrections website, Jenner is currently being housed in the Pierre Community Work Center, which is adjacent to the women's prison. I asked the DOC why there wasn't a public agenda posted, including Jenner's hearing. Michael Winder of the Department of Corrections told us agendas are posted online. However, there was no mention of Jenner in the posted agenda. Winder also referred us to the Board of Pardons and Paroles for details on Jenner's hearing. But when we called the board, the person answering the phone said all media calls had to go through Winder. We also got a response from Jenner's attorney. We have posted his statement on this story on Kettleland.com.
Thank you, Angela.